Have you ever heard a laugh so poisonous it could destroy a man's life? That laugh started this story, and by the end, it destroyed the man who dared to use it. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more jaw-dropping stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let's get back to our main character. Somebody call tech support before the whole building burns down. That's the first thing you hear. Not from a stranger, but from the project manager himself, Nathan Briggs. His voice slices through the tense silence of the server room like it's a joke everyone should laugh at. And some do. Nervous chuckles, half-hearted, bouncing off the glass walls. Then he doubles down. Hey, there he is. Our hero. The IT guy. What's your name again? Andre, right? Perfect. Andre, why don't you pull out your magic wrench and make these million-dollar servers behave? The laugh that follows is cruel. Not loud, not roaring, worse. It's casual. The kind of laugh people use when they've already decided you're beneath them. And in that moment, Andre Carter, quiet, brilliant, steady, walks deeper into the room with his laptop in hand. He doesn't answer. Doesn't flinch. He's been here before. But the humiliation doesn't stop. Nathan leans against the server rack, speaking louder now so the executives gathered outside can hear. Hope you're billing us by the hour, Andre. What's the going rate these days? $20? 30? I mean, honestly, this is a billion-dollar portfolio. We should probably be paying top dollar for your screwdriver skills. The words hang heavy. The executives shift but say nothing. A few smirk. One clears his throat. No one intervenes. Andre sets his laptop down. Powers it up. Fingers move across the keyboard. Calm. Measured. He says nothing. Nathan won't let go. Come on, don't be shy. You're the expert. Or at least, that's what your little badge says. Fix it, man. Show us you're more than just the help. And right here, right at the start, is where this story sharpens into a blade. Because what none of them know, not Nathan, not the executives watching like hawks, not even the assistant scribbling notes by the door, is that Andre Carter is not just IT support. He's the billionaire investor. The man behind CarterNet Ventures. The hidden owner of the very servers they're mocking him for touching. But tonight, he lets them talk. For exactly 14 minutes, he lets their arrogance pile higher, like logs on a fire. And when the moment comes, when silence finally collides with truth, it will burn hotter than anyone in this building is ready for. Have you ever heard a person's entire world collapse in a single sentence? You're about to. The server room is restless. Screens flashing error codes, executives whispering behind glass, and Nathan's laughter echoing like a drill. He thinks he owns the room. He thinks he owns Andre. But then, finally, Andre speaks. His voice is low, calm, even. It'll be running in 14 minutes. That's it. No jokes. No excuses. Just certainty. Nathan smirks. 14 minutes. That's cute. You got a stopwatch in your pocket, IT man? Or are you just pulling numbers out of thin air? He turns to the executives outside the glass. 14 minutes. Guess that's the premium service package. The chuckles follow, thin and cruel. But notice this, Andre doesn't look up. Doesn't flinch. His fingers move steady over the keys, line after line of code scrolling, like he's guiding the machine itself back to life. And the silence that follows, it's strange. Because though Nathan keeps talking, his words don't land. Something about Andre's calm has shifted the air. Nathan tries again. You hear me? I'm asking what kind of miracle worker you are. Andre pauses. And then he says, clear, measured. The kind that builds systems you can't break. The executives freeze. No one laughs this time. It's not arrogance. It's not boast. It's fact. Spoken in a tone so steady it unsettles the very man trying to humiliate him. But Nathan recovers quickly. He can't let silence make him small. Well then, do us a favor, system builder, he sneers, voice dripping with mockery. Build us a world where the servers don't crash during billion-dollar presentations. Think you can do that? Or is that above your pay grade? Andre doesn't respond. And that, the refusal to bite, rattles Nathan more than any insult ever could. Because here's the truth. The arrogance of men like Nathan is fragile. It feeds on compliance, on reaction, on the flinch in someone's eyes. But when the target doesn't give it, when they stand silent, steady, it leaves a crack. And cracks spread fast. The executives outside begin whispering. One checks his watch. Another leans closer to the glass. They aren't laughing anymore. They're listening. And Nathan feels it. His laugh grows sharper, forced. Well, clock's ticking, IT man. 14 minutes. Let's see if you're worth the overtime. The seconds stretch long. The hum of the servers grows louder. Keys clicking. Executives shifting. Nathan pacing. Until suddenly, silence. The screen blinks once. Twice. Then the system resets, smooth, flawless. And at exactly the 14th minute, Andre Carter closes his laptop. He doesn't announce it. Doesn't brag. He just says quietly. It's done. No one moves. For a heartbeat, even Nathan is speechless. Then, scrambling for control, he laughs again. Well, look at that. The IT guy earns his keep. Round of applause, folks. But no applause comes. Only the sound of executives murmuring to each other. One of them whispers, "How did he time that?" Another says, "He knew before it finished." And Nathan hears it. He hears his authority slipping. He hears control sliding out of his hands. And still, he has no idea who he's really dealing with. Not yet. The hum of the servers is steady again. Stable. Restored. For the executives outside the glass, it should be a relief. But instead, it feels like something else. Something heavier. One of them whispers, "He said 14 minutes. Exactly 14. Another replies, "That wasn't a guess. He knew." Their voices carry just enough for Nathan to hear, and that's when the crack in his armor widens. He forces a laugh. Don't read too much into it. IT guys like him get lucky once in a while. Blind squirrel finds a nut, right? But no one laughs with him this time. Not a single chuckle. Only silence. So Nathan turns back to Andre, voice sharper now, trying to claw back authority. "All right, Mr. Miracle Worker. Since you're so precise, maybe you can fix the culture around here too. Think you can code out incompetence? Or is that above your clearance level?" Andre closes his laptop. Slowly. Deliberately. And then, for the first time tonight, he looks directly at Nathan. His voice is calm. Even. Almost cold. "Clearance isn't something I worry about." The words hang in the air like a challenge no one understands. Not yet. But the executives hear it. And the silence after is thick enough to make Nathan shift uncomfortably on his feet. He tries to shake it off. Clearance, no clearance, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're still the help. Remember that. It's ugly. Brutal. A line meant to crush. And the executives react, shifting, murmuring, one of them even gasping softly. They all heard it. But Andre doesn't flinch. He simply repeats, in that same steady tone. "I told you. Clearance isn't something I worry about." And in that moment, Nathan doesn't realize it, but the balance of power has begun to shift. Because what no one in that room knows, not the manager mocking him, not the executives whispering behind glass, not the assistant scribbling notes, is that Andre Carter already holds the highest clearance. He isn't there as support. He isn't there as an outsider. He's the very reason this company still exists on paper. But tonight, he lets the silence work. Lets them wonder. Lets the weight of his calm dismantle Nathan's cruelty piece by piece. Then, quietly, one executive clears his throat. "Mr. Briggs, maybe we should, show a little more respect. He did, after all, save us from a catastrophic crash." Nathan stiffens. His authority, challenged. In front of his own team. So he snaps back, louder now, almost shouting. Respect? For him? He's IT support. Don't forget who's in charge here. This is my project, my team, my presentation. He just presses buttons. Don't elevate him beyond his role. The words are venom. But the silence that follows cuts deeper than his outburst. Because everyone in that room can feel it, Andre isn't pressing buttons. He's pulling strings none of them can see. And very soon, those strings will tighten. The silence after Nathan's outburst is long. Too long. Executives outside the glass exchange uneasy glances. The assistant by the door hesitates, pen hovering in midair. And then, finally, Andre speaks. Not loud. Not defensive. Just calm. You shouldn't confuse silence with weakness. Sometimes it's just patience. The words land like a stone in still water, sending ripples no one knows how to measure. Nathan laughs, but it's brittle now, cracking at the edges. Patience? No, no. I call it obedience. You keep your head down, you fix what's broken, and you stay in your lane. That's how this works. Andre tilts his head slightly. His voice, still steady, cuts through the tension. I don't have a lane. I build the road. And with that, the executives fall completely silent. No one dares laugh. No one dares shift. They're listening now, every word, every syllable, as though something important has just been revealed. Nathan scoffs, trying to wave it away. Big words for a guy holding a company-issued laptop. But his voice wavers, just slightly. He's rattled. Andre closes the machine gently, the click of the latch echoing like punctuation. Then he says. You think a laptop defines who I am? That's the problem. Tools don't make the builder. Ownership does. For the first time, one of the executives outside leans toward the glass and murmurs, what does he mean, ownership? Another shakes their head, unsure. Nathan hears it. And panic sharpens his tone. Don't listen to him. He's posturing. He doesn't own anything here. His laugh is harsh, desperate. Come on, do you think the billionaire investors are hiding in our server room, typing code like interns? Get real. Andre lets him talk. Lets him burn himself down with every sneer, every insult. Then, finally, he says. Funny you mention investors. Nathan freezes. So do the executives. The words are too specific. Too sharp to ignore. Andre continues, deliberate, each word chosen. When you've sat across from CEOs, when you've signed papers that move billions, when your signature is the reason companies rise or fall, you stop arguing with project managers about clearance levels. The room is airless. The assistant by the door actually lowers her pen. The executives outside whisper louder now, no longer bothering to hide it. Wait, did he just say billions? Papers signed? What is he talking about? And Nathan can feel it. The ground shifting beneath him. So he lashes out. Enough. You're nothing but a glorified technician. I don't care what fancy words you use, you don't belong in this room. Not with me. Not with them. Not ever. But even as he says it, the power is gone. The executives don't look at him. They're staring at Andre. And Andre? He simply folds his hands, leans back against the counter, and says quietly, "You'll know exactly who belongs here soon enough." The words hang in the air like a challenge no one dares touch. You'll know exactly who belongs here soon enough. The executives outside shift uneasily. One of them finally leans toward the door, calling through the glass. "Mr. Carter, what exactly do you mean by that?" Nathan snaps around, his face flushing red, his voice trembling with forced authority. "Don't address him. Don't feed into this nonsense. He's a contractor. He fixed the system, and that's all. Don't let him play mind games." But even his tone betrays him. Desperation cracks through every syllable. And the executives hear it. Andre doesn't move. Doesn't even raise his voice. He just says, calm and even, "You've spent the last hour trying to shrink me into a role I don't fit. That's not my problem. It's yours." The silence that follows feels heavy, dangerous. The assistant by the door swallows hard. Her pen doesn't move. And one of the executives, the CFO, finally speaks again, firmer this time. "Mr. Briggs, I'd like to hear him answer. Directly." Nathan whirls back, panicked. "You don't need to hear anything from him. He's not cleared to discuss company strategy." Andre finally looks at the CFO, his expression unreadable, his voice steady. "Strategy is exactly what I came here to discuss. Just not with Nathan." "That does it." Gasps slip through the glass. The executive's murmurs sharpen into questions. What does he mean, not with Nathan? Why is he speaking like he's one of us? And Nathan, cornered now, lashes out in a last-ditch attempt to hold control. "You don't get to talk about strategy. You don't get to imply you're on our level. You fix wires. You patch servers. That's it. Stop acting like you matter." The cruelty is naked this time. Ugly. Venomous. And for the first time, it doesn't land. Because Andre doesn't flinch. He lets the words sit in the stale air, then replies, calm as ever. "I matter more than you're ready to admit." The executives outside stiffen. A collective intake of breath, sharp and unguarded. One of them whispers, almost in awe, "Who is this man?" Nathan hears it. And that whisper, more than Andre's words, cracks him open. He shouts, voice shaking, "He's nobody. He's just a..." But he can't finish. Because even he feels it now, the way the room has shifted, the way his authority has drained out like water through a sieve. And Andre? Andre just folds his arms across his chest and says softly, "The truth has a way of surfacing. Even when people try to bury it." The executives outside lean closer, waiting. The assistant holds her breath. And Nathan Briggs, his laugh gone, his smirk gone, stares at Andre Carter with something he hasn't felt all night. Fear. The room feels different now. Andre hasn't moved, hasn't raised his voice, but the atmosphere bends around him. The executives can sense it, even if they can't name it. Finally, the CFO's voice cuts through the tension, sharp and impatient. "Mr. Briggs, enough. We want him to answer. Directly." Nathan spins, his words tumbling over each other. "You don't understand, he's just an external contractor. He doesn't know anything about strategy, or finance, or acquisitions. This isn't his lane." Andre doesn't even blink. He speaks softly, but every word is clear. "I told you. I don't have a lane. I build the road." The CFO narrows his eyes. "What exactly does that mean, Mr. Carter?" A pause. Heavy. Then Andre replies. "It means I don't ask permission to solve problems. I decide which problems get solved." Whispers break out among the executives, louder now, spilling into the server room through the glass. "Did you hear that? He's speaking like an investor." "No, bigger. Like an owner. And Nathan hears it too. His panic sharpens into rage. His voice cracks as he shouts. Stop listening to him. He's playing you. He's just a technician, for God's sake. But his words no longer carry weight. Not here. Not now. Andre tilts his head slightly, his gaze steady on Nathan. His voice, calm as ever, slices clean through the chaos. You've mistaken patience for weakness. You've mistaken humility for smallness. And now you're mistaking your voice for authority. The silence that follows is unbearable. Even the servers seem quieter. The COO, who has been silent until now, finally leans toward the glass and speaks firmly. Mr. Carter, who are you really? Nathan whirls back, desperate, almost pleading now. Don't ask him that. Don't, you're wasting time. He's nobody. He doesn't deserve an answer. But the COO ignores him. Her eyes lock on Andre, and her voice is steady. Who are you? Andre doesn't answer right away. He lets the silence stretch, lets it bite into the air until every breath in the room feels like it belongs to him. Then, at last, he says quietly. You'll know soon enough. And when you do, you'll remember this moment. The words ripple outward like a shockwave. The executives murmur louder now, the assistant's pen slips from her hand, and Nathan Briggs. Nathan Briggs stands frozen, trembling on the edge of a truth he doesn't want to face. Because deep down, he knows. The room holds its breath. Every voice has gone quiet except Nathan's, but even his is cracking now, wobbling like a cheap chair about to collapse. Answer me, Carter, he barks, but there's no real bite left. Who the hell do you think you are? Andre doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. He lets the silence stretch, lets the weight of those words hang in the air until it becomes unbearable. Then he speaks. Not who I think I am, he says evenly. Who I know I am. The executives shift in their seats. One clears his throat. Another mutters, what does that mean? Nathan presses again, this time with desperation. Say it plain. You're some contractor, some IT guy. That's all you are. Nothing more. Andre finally turns, fully, deliberately. And with a calmness that rattles even the most confident man in the room, he delivers the sentence that cracks the floor beneath Nathan's feet. You've spent all night laughing at me, he says. But by morning, you'll be answering to me. The silence after that feels dangerous. One executive whispers, answering, to him. Another mutters, wait. Is he saying? Nathan tries to laugh, but it comes out jagged, hollow. Don't listen to him, he stammers. He's bluffing. He can't mean. Andre cuts him off with 3 words. Check the servers. And just like that, the part is complete. The room is frozen. Executives exchange frantic whispers, a storm of doubt and dread forming in their voices. Nathan swallows hard, visibly unraveling. Andre says nothing more. He just stands, composed, unshaken. The sound of Nathan's forced breathing fills the space, louder than anything else. And that's where it ends. The opening hook slams shut with every person in that room, every person listening, knowing the truth is about to explode, but not yet revealed. If you've ever felt underestimated, stay with me. Because what comes next will make you rethink every silence you've endured. And if this story is already hitting you deep, share it with someone who needs to hear it. The silence in the server room is unbearable. You can almost count the seconds by the shallow, uneven breaths echoing against the walls. Nathan Briggs stands stiff, clutching at the fragments of his authority, while Andre Carter remains still, collected, and unreadable. The executives look from one man to the other, their whispers a nervous murmur. One of them, a finance director named Hollis, finally breaks the quiet. What did he just say? Andre doesn't answer. He doesn't move. He lets the question linger, like smoke drifting slowly across a room. Nathan seizes the opening. He's bluffing, he snaps. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's some freelancer, cheap help. IT support we pulled in to deal with a crash. That's all. That's all. But even as he says it, his voice quivers. Andre tilts his head slightly. His words come calm, measured, surgical. Check the servers. The executives shift in their chairs. There's a faint sound of keystrokes. Someone is pulling up the system logs. Nathan notices, and his panic sharpens into rage. Don't waste your time, he barks. We have a crisis on our hands, half the company's systems are down, and you want to humor this clown? Andre's lips curl into the faintest trace of a smile. Not a mocking smile, not a loud one, just a small, knowing edge. I told you already, he says. It'll be running in 14 minutes. 12, now. The confidence in his tone cuts deeper than any insult. The executives stare at him. One of them, a woman from legal, asks carefully, "How can you be so certain?" Andre replies without hesitation. "Because I wrote the patch you're running. I know how long it takes." The words land heavy. Executives glance at each other. Nathan explodes. "Bullshit," he shouts. "This guy's nothing. He didn't write anything, we got this code from a vendor in Palo Alto. I was on the call myself." Andre doesn't flinch. "And who do you think sold it to them?" The room goes quiet again. One of the executives swallows hard. "What are you implying?" Andre's voice lowers, steady and deliberate. "I'm not implying. I'm stating. That code has my name in the headers. But you don't need to take my word for it. Pull the documentation. Read it out loud." More keystrokes. A file opens. A hush spreads through the room as someone begins to read, halting at first, then louder. Copyright CarterNet Holdings, 2018. The name hits like a strike of lightning. Nathan stammers, it's a coincidence. A generic label, that's all." Andre folds his arms. "Is that your explanation? $1 billion software library carrying my company's name is coincidence?" Gasps ripple through the executives. Whispers rise, "CarterNet? As in the portfolio name from their pending acquisition? The same name appearing on investor documents?" Nathan sees the doubt seeping in. He throws his hands up. No, you're letting him play you. This is a trick. I've dealt with guys like this before. They come in, drop fancy-sounding claims, and suddenly everyone treats them like royalty. It's pathetic." Andre tilts his head again, studying him like a puzzle already solved. "You keep calling me nothing. But nothing doesn't leave a paper trail." A heavy pause. One of the older executives leans forward, his voice grave. "Nathan, maybe we should hear him out." That single suggestion slices what's left of Nathan's control. He wheels on them, shouting, "You're actually buying this? You've known me 15 years. I've led this division through hell and back. And now some IT guy wanders in with a recycled brand name, and suddenly you're all ready to worship him?" Andre speaks again, almost softly, but each word lands like stone. "I don't need your worship. I don't even need your belief. The servers will be back online in," he glances at his watch, 9 minutes. "And when they are, the ownership record will update automatically. That's how the system was built." "My system." Nathan's mouth opens and closes, like a man grasping for oxygen. One of the executives finally says what everyone else is thinking. "Nathan, if this is true." "If?" Andre interrupts smoothly. "There's no if. There's only when you decide to accept it." The executives go quiet again. The only sound is Nathan's ragged breathing. Then, a new voice enters the tension. The CEO himself, who has been silent until now. His voice is low, commanding. "Mr. Carter," he says. "I have one question. Why are you here?" The room freezes. Everyone stares at Andre. For the first time, the weight of the moment feels unbearable, pressing in from every side. Andre's answer is simple. Because I wanted to see how my investment was being treated. Firsthand. A stunned whisper passes through the executives like a wave. Investment. His investment. Nathan barks out a desperate laugh. No. No. He's lying. You can't just walk in here and claim to own everything. That's not how this works. Andre fixes his gaze on him. No, Nathan. That's exactly how it works. Because when you're the one signing the checks, you don't need to explain yourself to the people cashing them. The executive's whispers turn into a low murmur, urgent, frantic. They're piecing it together now, the name, the software, the portfolio they've heard rumors about. It all fits. Nathan, frantic, slams his hand against the desk. No. You're not him. You're not. But his words die in his throat. Because one of the executives, pale and trembling, has just pulled up the investor documents on his tablet. He reads aloud. Primary holding company. CarterNet Ventures. Founder and majority shareholder. Andre J. Carter. The sound of his voice is final. The silence afterward is crushing. Nathan sways slightly, like the ground beneath him has caved in. No, he whispers. No, no, no. Andre doesn't smile. He doesn't need to. He simply says, 7 minutes. The servers will confirm what you've just read. And when they do, Nathan, the only question left will be how quickly you pack your desk. The room erupts into overlapping voices, executives demanding explanations, whispering to each other, fumbling with their devices. Nathan tries to shout over them, but his voice is drowned, swallowed whole by the rising storm of realization. And Andre? He stands silently, watching it unfold, unshaken. The man they dismissed as just IT support now stands at the center of their world, and for the first time, they understand what they're truly dealing with. The tension doesn't break. It stretches tighter, higher, until it feels like the very air will snap. And that's where the rising tension leaves us, on the edge of collapse, with Nathan flailing, the executives spiraling, and Andre poised to unleash the truth in full. You've heard the mocking, you've felt the pressure building. But the truth? It's only just beginning to surface. Keep listening, and if you're caught up in this moment, drop a comment about the last time someone doubted you. The countdown ends with a sound so ordinary it feels unreal, the quiet chime of systems coming back online. A ripple passes through the server room as screens blink, dashboards fill, and status bars sweep across monitors. The company's network, frozen and failing for hours, breathes back to life. The executives stare in stunned silence. Andre doesn't move. His voice cuts through the hum like a blade. I told you 14 minutes. It's been exactly that. Whispers burst instantly among the executives. He was right, he called it to the second. Another mutters, how did he know? Who is he? And then the updates appear. Across multiple screens, in glowing letters too sharp to ignore, property of CarterNet Holdings. The words are repeated corner after corner, system after system. Like a signature burned into the very code of their infrastructure. Executives gasp. Someone swears under their breath. Another reads aloud without meaning to, CarterNet. CarterNet Ventures. Nathan's face drains pale. That doesn't mean anything, he cries, but the protest sounds hollow, paper-thin. Those labels, anyone could've. He stops when the legal director leans forward, her voice grim. No, Nathan. This isn't some cheap watermark. This is proprietary registration. Legally binding, time-stamped, traceable. Andre finally turns, slow and deliberate, his voice steady as stone. Exactly. The CEO speaks again, his tone now measured, cautious. Mr. Carter. Andre Carter, are you telling us? Andre cuts him off. No. I'm not telling you. Your servers are. The silence stretches tight. Then, like a fuse catching, executives scramble. Devices beep, emails fly open, documents get pulled up. Screens glow brighter as they dig, confirm, verify. And piece by piece, the truth unravels. One executive reads an email chain, voice trembling. CarterNet Ventures, lead investor, controlling majority stake, signed by Andre J. Carter. Another scrolls through acquisition files. There it is again. The holding's signature. He isn't lying. Someone else, barely whispering, we've been calling him IT support. Andre finally steps forward. His footsteps are slow, deliberate, echoing against the tile. He speaks calmly, not raising his tone, but every syllable presses deeper. I walked into this building tonight, and not one of you asked my name. Not one of you wondered why I was here. Because you saw a black man in the server room, and your minds wrote the rest of the story for you. You decided I must be the help. You decided I must not matter. His words hang, heavy and raw. And for hours, you let Nathan here ridicule me. You laughed. You whispered. You nodded along, because it was easy. Because it was familiar. Because in your world, people like me are always the ones plugging in the wires, never the ones buying the building the wires run through. Whispers fade. The executives sit stiff, ashamed, exposed. Andre doesn't let up. You want the truth? Here it is. I am Andre Carter, founder of CarterNet Ventures, a company that, as of this quarter, controls a portfolio worth $4.2 billion. Including this company. Including every desk you sit at. Including every server humming in this room right now. The statement hits like a detonation. Gasps. A choked cough. A dropped pen clattering on the floor. Nathan stumbles back a step. No, you're lying. That can't be true. If that was true, we'd have known. Andre turns his gaze on him. Cold, unblinking. You didn't know because you never thought to ask. And when the papers came across your desk with my company's name, you skimmed right over it. Because you assumed CarterNet had nothing to do with a man like me. Nathan shakes his head violently, his voice breaking. No, this isn't possible. You can't be the man behind this. You're just. Andre cuts him off, his voice sharper now. Say it. Say what you've been choking back all night. Nathan's face twists. He hesitates, but the silence forces him. You're just some IT guy. Andre's voice rises for the first time, not a shout, but iron in its edge. And that is why you're finished. Because in your arrogance, you couldn't imagine that the man writing your checks might not look like you. Might not talk like you. Might not fit your script. And now? That blindness is your downfall. The executives murmur louder, fear creeping in. If this is true, then Briggs he's exposed. He mocked the investor. Andre doesn't let them finish. Exposed? He's more than exposed. This is negligence. This is incompetence. This is prejudice costing you billions. The CEO leans forward, his tone tense. Mr. Carter. Andre, what do you want us to do? Andre pauses, lets the question echo. Then, start by listening. For the first time tonight. He pulls out a folder, places it on the table. Papers slide across. Executives lean forward, eyes darting. Andre's voice narrates what they're seeing. 47 complaints, he says, calm but cutting. Over 15 years. Against Nathan Briggs. Filed by employees under him. Documented racial harassment, discriminatory remarks, patterns of retaliation. 47. Settled quietly, costing this company $2.3 million in payouts. The legal director mutters, stunned, 47? How did we miss? You didn't miss it, Andre says. You buried it. You told yourselves it wasn't systemic. You convinced yourselves it was cheaper to silence the victims than to confront the problem. But silence has a way of resurfacing. And tonight, it just did. Nathan's voice rises to a scream. Lies. Those were baseless. You don't know. Andre slams the table with his hand, a sudden crack of sound that makes every voice stop. His tone is ice. I know. I've read every file. I've spoken to the people you drove out of this building. The women. The men. The ones who couldn't keep enduring your jokes, your smirks, your little comments. And I promised them that when the time came, your mask would be ripped off. Silence. Pure, crushing silence. Andre straightens, his voice lower now, almost intimate. That time is now. Executives sit rigid. No one dares breathe. The CEO speaks finally, voice shaking. Nathan, is this true? These complaints. Nathan is frantic, babbling now. No, it's exaggerations, misunderstandings, he's twisting. Andre doesn't even look at him. He continues, addressing the executives. You have two choices. You can cling to him, protect him, pretend you didn't hear what I've laid out. Or you can acknowledge the truth, take responsibility, and salvage what little dignity this company has left. But understand me clearly, I don't make idle suggestions. If I walk out of here tonight unconvinced, this acquisition dies before sunrise. The weight of his words crushes the air out of the room. Executives scramble, whispering furiously, calculating, panicking. Nathan pleads with them, his voice hoarse. Don't listen to him. He's manipulating you, he's going to gut us, leave us in ruins. But it's too late. They're no longer looking at Nathan. Every eye is fixed on Andre Carter. And in that moment, it's undeniable. The truth has been revealed. The underestimated man they mocked, dismissed, ridiculed, he is the power in the room. The authority. The owner. Nathan collapses into his chair, muttering, no, as if denial alone could undo what's been exposed. Andre doesn't look at him again. His voice is steady, final. You wanted to know who I am. Now you do. That's the moment the mask breaks. The truth no one expected is now undeniable. If this moment shook you, don't keep it to yourself, send this story to someone who believes power always hides in plain sight. Nathan Briggs slumps in his chair, mumbling incoherently, his authority crumbling into ash before everyone's eyes. The man who strutted through this building, laughing loudest, mocking without hesitation, is reduced to a trembling figure repeating the same broken word, no. The executives don't even look at him anymore. Their eyes are fixed on Andre Carter. Some stare in awe, some in fear, some in shame. The silence after the reveal isn't quiet, it's suffocating, pressing down on every person in the room. Andre breaks it with a single phrase. The question now isn't whether you believe me. The question is how you will respond. The CEO leans forward, his voice brittle. Mr. Carter. Andre, what do you want us to do? Andre doesn't answer right away. He lets the weight of the room settle. Then he says, call it what it is. A culture problem. A leadership problem. A Nathan Briggs problem. The legal director clears her throat, cautious. You're asking us to. I'm not asking, Andre interrupts. His tone is calm, almost soft, but the authority behind it is undeniable. I'm giving you terms. You want this acquisition to go through? Then this company confronts what it has buried for 15 years. Nathan finds a scrap of his voice. You can't just dictate terms like this. You don't. Andre's gaze silences him. I don't dictate. Nathan, I own. And there's a difference. Dictating is when someone talks and prays you'll obey. Owning is when someone talks and knows you will. The words land like stone. Nathan's face collapses into rage, but the room doesn't back him. Executives shift uncomfortably, whispering furiously, already recalculating their loyalties. The CEO rubs his temple. If this comes out publicly. Andre steps in again. It will come out. Tonight. I've already set it in motion. A ripple of shock passes across the executives. What do you mean? Andre opens his folder again and slides another paper across the table. This is a draft release. At 9 a.m. sharp, it will be in every major outlet. Detailing the acquisition, detailing CarterNet's role, and detailing the fact that CarterNet is committed to restructuring this company from the inside out. Transparency. Accountability. That is non-negotiable. The legal director schemes the page, her hands shaking. You've already written this. I've already lived this, Andre replies. This isn't new. This is overdue. Nathan explodes again, red-faced, his voice breaking into desperation. Don't let him do this. He'll drag us through the mud. He'll destroy everything we've built. Andre doesn't even look at him. He addresses the executives. What he calls destruction, I call cleansing. You've been paying settlements instead of solving problems. $2.3 million over 15 years, scattered across 47 complaints. 47 voices silenced. Do you think that stays buried forever? It doesn't. It festers. And tonight, it has rotted through. The CFO mutters under his breath, 47. Andre nods. 47. And those are only the official ones. I have testimonies. Written. Recorded. People who walked away broken because of what they endured here. Their voices will be heard. Whether you stand beside me or against me, they will be heard. The CEO leans back, exhaling sharply. This is catastrophic. Andre meets his eyes. No. This is necessary. For a long moment, no one speaks. Then the silence shatters with the buzz of phones vibrating across the table. Notifications chime one after another, overlapping like an alarm. Executives glance at their screens, pale. One mutters, "It's already out." Another swears. Andre watches them. Calm. I told you. I set it in motion. The CEO stares at his phone, reading aloud. Breaking, CarterNet Ventures acquires majority stake in Lennox Systems. Founder Andre Carter pledges immediate review of company culture after reports of 47 discrimination complaints under project manager Nathan Briggs. The words drop like dynamite. Executives are frantically scrolling. One whispers, "It's trending already." Another, the comments, "They're everywhere." Someone reads one aloud. About time someone held them accountable. Another, "Imagine laughing at the man who owns you." Another, "This is bigger than one manager, it's the whole system." The room buzzes with panic, with dread, with the realization that the story has already escaped their control. Nathan leaps up, his voice shrill. "You can't do this. You'll ruin me." Andre finally turns his gaze on him. "No, Nathan. You ruined yourself. Every laugh. Every sneer. Every complaint buried. You built this moment with your own hands. I'm just holding up the mirror." Nathan stumbles, trembling, but no one moves to help him. Not one executive steps in. He is alone, exposed. The CEO clears his throat, his voice grim. Effective immediately. Nathan Briggs is suspended. Pending full investigation. Nathan's eyes widen. You can't." Andre cuts in. "He can. And he will. And if he doesn't, CarterNet will." The CEO nods, defeated. Then it's done. Nathan collapses back into his chair, pale, shaking, muttering like a man whose world has caved in. But Andre isn't finished. He turns to the executives again, his voice carrying the weight of command. This doesn't end with Nathan. This ends when you rebuild. Policies will change. Oversight will change. Leadership will change. And CarterNet will ensure it. The legal director asks, her voice unsteady, what exactly are you demanding? Andre answers plainly. Mandatory bias training across every department. An independent ethics board, empowered to act. Transparency on complaints, no more settlements in the shadows. And leadership reviews starting with the top 20 positions, including all of you sitting here tonight. Gasps ripple through the room. Someone protests. You can't just. I can, Andre says, his voice steel. Because you need me more than I need you. This acquisition saves your company from collapse. Without me, your stock plummets by sunrise. So ask yourselves, do you prefer discomfort, or do you prefer ruin? The silence is heavy, brutal. Executives glance at one another, pale, sweating, realizing they have no leverage left. One by one, reluctant nods ripple around the table. The CEO lowers his head. We will cooperate. Andre nods once. Good. Then we move forward. But the story doesn't stop in that room. By midnight, social media is flooded. Comments pour in, read aloud by voices across the digital world. Imagine mocking the black man who literally owns the company. This is what systemic bias looks like, 47 complaints ignored. He didn't just survive it. He bought it. That's power. The story trends across platforms, hashtags multiplying. Hashtag CarterNet Truth. Hashtag 47 Voices. By morning, news anchors are reading it on air. Andre Carter, founder of CarterNet Ventures, shocked the corporate world last night. The acquisition comes with promises of sweeping reform. Nathan's name spreads too, but for all the wrong reasons. His history is unpacked, complaint by complaint. Former employees come forward with their voices, their stories. One by one, they paint a picture of a man who mocked, belittled, humiliated, and a company that let him. By the third day, the board announces his resignation. The CEO calls an emergency town hall, his voice cracking as he admits failures. 47 complaints. 2.3 million in settlements. We failed our people. That changes now. And always, standing at the center of it all, is Andre Carter. Not shouting. Not demanding attention. Just steady, relentless, refusing to let silence cover what truth has uncovered. The consequences stretch outward. The company's policies change. New leaders are brought in. Employees whisper that for the first time, they feel like their voices might actually matter. As for Nathan, he disappears from the headlines as quickly as he once dominated them. His name becomes a cautionary tale. His laughter, once loud enough to fill boardrooms, is remembered only as the echo of arrogance before the fall. And Andre? He never wanted their applause. He wanted change. And with every policy rewritten, with every silenced voice given back its power, he proves that what they mistook as nothing was, in fact, everything. Arrogance has consequences, and tonight you've heard them unfold step by step. If you believe more people need to understand this, hit subscribe and stay with us, because stories like this aren't rare. They're just rarely told. Months have passed since that night. The night when truth split the room wide open. The night when Nathan Briggs fell silent, and Andre Carter's name became the pulse of a story larger than one man, larger than one company. What followed wasn't instant redemption. It never is. Change rarely blooms overnight. Instead, it came slowly, sometimes painfully, like a body learning to breathe after years of suffocation. Inside the company walls, the shift was immediate but uneven. Executives, once dismissive, found themselves sitting through long hours of bias training, stripped of the illusions that their titles made them untouchable. The old culture, the laughter that cut down instead of lifted up, the whispered jokes that carried poison, was dragged into the light. Not all of it vanished overnight, but the difference was clear. People noticed. People remembered. The first major act came within weeks, the creation of an independent ethics board. For the first time, employees had a channel where complaints didn't disappear into locked drawers or hush payments. Instead, they were investigated, documented, addressed. The message was unmistakable: silence would no longer be bought. One morning, in the company cafeteria, a worker who had filed 3 complaints under Nathan's management found her way to the coffee line. She had grown used to being ignored, her voice brushed aside as if invisible. But this time, she wasn't brushed aside. People moved to make space for her. People asked, quietly, if she felt heard. That was new. That was different. By the end of the first quarter, dozens of mid-level managers had been reviewed. Some were demoted, some dismissed, others retrained. The air in the offices shifted, not perfectly, not magically, but perceptibly. You could walk through the building and feel less fear hanging in the hallways. More eyes lifted instead of lowered. More conversations carried honesty instead of calculation. Andre didn't hover over every step. That was never his goal. He didn't want to micromanage a company he had saved. He wanted to anchor it, to chart its course, then let it grow. But his presence lingered in every decision, every policy signed, every reform enacted. His name had become something larger than a signature, it was a standard. Still, not everyone celebrated. There were murmurs in private corners, whispers of resentment. Some resented the upheaval, the scrutiny, the accountability that forced them to face their own complicity. Some spoke Nathan's name not in loyalty, but in bitterness, resentful that the comfort of silence had been stripped away. Andre expected that. He knew change always wakes resistance. What mattered wasn't pleasing everyone, it was protecting the voices that had been ignored for too long. The media, for weeks, had turned his story into a storm. Articles, interviews, op-eds, anchors spoke his name with reverence or curiosity, sometimes with skepticism. Hashtags trended, hashtag CarterNet Truth, hashtag 47 Voices, hashtag Power Reclaimed. But the media's attention eventually drifted, as it always does. What remained, though, were the echoes. Former employees who had once been silenced found themselves sought out for interviews, their stories finally given weight. Some cried on camera. Some spoke with defiance. All carried the scars of what had been ignored for too long. Nathan's name, once sharp and commanding, faded into something else, an example. His resignation was followed by silence. No interviews, no statements, no defense. Just absence. The man who once filled rooms with mocking laughter was reduced to a cautionary tale whispered in business schools, a warning of arrogance without accountability. And Andre? Andre did not chase fame. He didn't grant endless interviews or bask in the headlines. When asked to appear on major talk shows, he declined most offers. His time, he believed, was better spent on work that mattered. On ensuring that the 47 voices weren't just remembered, but protected in every future policy. 6 months later, the company, once on the brink of collapse, posted its first quarter of growth in nearly 3 years. Investors credited CarterNet's restructuring, the newfound trust, the public's recognition that this was no longer the same company. Clients who had been walking away returned cautiously, testing whether the promises of reform were real. Slowly, cautiously, they found reason to believe. One of the most powerful images came during a company town hall, streamed to every branch, every office. The CEO stood before the employees, flanked not by executives, but by members of the newly formed ethics board, diverse, outspoken, empowered. And standing in the front row, silent but unmissable, was Andre Carter. He didn't speak that day. He didn't need to. His presence was enough. His silence was louder than Nathan's laughter had ever been. In the crowd, employees whispered his name, some with awe, some with gratitude. For many of them, he was no longer just a venture capitalist, no longer just a founder. He was proof, living proof, that resilience could be weaponized into power, that the voices silenced for years could echo loud enough to reshape an empire. Months later, an internal survey revealed the shift. For the first time in company history, employees reported a majority belief that leadership would listen to them. For the first time, they felt safer filing complaints, safer raising their voices. The scars weren't gone. But healing had begun. Andre Carter never wrote a victory speech. He didn't need one. His victory wasn't measured in applause or headlines. It was measured in the quiet relief of those 47 voices, and the countless others who would never be silenced the same way again. As for the world beyond the company, his story took on a life of its own. Universities taught it in business ethics classes. Analysts dissected it in articles about power dynamics and corporate responsibility. Activists pointed to it as proof that silence could be broken, that arrogance could be undone. And somewhere, in quieter corners, young men and women who once felt invisible read his name, heard his story, and realized that their worth was not defined by the voices that mocked them. That is Andre Carter's legacy. Not the acquisition, not the growth charts, not the profit margins. His legacy is the reminder that truth, once spoken, cannot be unspoken. That silence, once shattered, cannot be rebuilt. Years from now, the company will change again. Executives will come and go. Policies will evolve. But what will remain is the night when one man, mocked and dismissed, revealed the truth that shook an empire. Andre Carter never asked to be their savior. He asked to be heard. And when they refused, he built a platform so loud they could never ignore him again. And in the end, that is the story. Not of revenge. Not of humiliation. But of reclamation. Of a voice once dismissed as nothing, rising until it was everything. And that's the legacy of Andre Carter. A reminder that silence can be broken, and truth can reshape everything. If you're carrying this with you right now, let it live beyond you, share it, speak it, and never let anyone laugh your worth away.